USAID funds allegedly used for Rent-a-Riots. This dates back way back to Barack Obama. And if this is true, um, they said they redirected intended humanitarian aid to the Cayman Islands to finance protests. And if this is true, this is a crazy, crazy bombshell that we're about to do a deep dive in. If this is true, I mean, Barack Obama was a lot worse than what we really thought. So we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get the supporting information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. All right, folks. So let's get into this news. USAID, that is the United States Agency for International Development, has allegedly been caught funneling taxpayer dollars into what some are calling Rent-a-Riots. Yeah, you heard that right. Stage protests, train agitators, and a whole lot of money changing hands under the table. Now, this isn't just some fringe conspiracy popping up in the random chat room. This is breaking news, and people online are losing their minds over it. So let's unpack this together. What's the claim, what's the evidence, and why should we care? By the end of this, you'll hopefully be a little bit clearer what's really going on here. So let's dive in. First off, what's USAID? I mean, some people are not really familiar with it. It's a government agency that's supposed to handle foreign aid. Think disaster relief, food programs, building schools in struggling countries, stuff like that. It's funded by your tax dollars, my tax dollars, and it's got a budget in the billions. Historically, it's been pitched as America's goodwill ambassador to the world, but here's where the story takes a turn. According to what's bubbling up online, and I mean everywhere, from posts to comments, threads, and Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff, there's a growing chorus claiming USAID's been playing a very different game. The accusation, they've been using that money to bankroll orchestrated unrest, protests designed to destabilize governments, spark chaos, and push agendas. The term floating around is Rent-a-Riots, and it's as provocative as it sounds. The idea is that these aren't organic uprisings fed up citizens. They're paid, trained, and scripted. Kind of some of the stuff that Alex Jones used to allude to years ago. So here's what people are saying. They're pointing fingers at high-profile figures. Names like Barack Obama and Joe Biden are getting tossed around, claiming that during their administration, USAID became a slush fund for political dirty work. The narrative goes this: billions of dollars, some say 1.2 billion, others throw out different numbers, were sent overseas under the guise of foreign aid, but instead of building wells or feeding kids, that cash allegedly took a detour through places like the Cayman Islands, a known hotspot for shady financial moves, and ended up in the hands of activist groups, NGOs, and some are calling civil society organizations, like the George Soros and these types of groups. And these groups, the story goes, then use the funds to train protesters, print handbooks and how to riot, and basically manage chaos to topple regimes or sway elections. And it's not just abroad. Some are linking this to domestic unrest. That's why the story is so important. Domestic unrest like the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, or even Antifa riots, saying USAID money funneled through back channels help fuel these too. And that's the claim. And it's bombshell if true. Now you're probably wondering, like, where's the proof? Well, That's where this gets murky, and it's why we need to tread carefully. But people are sharing leaks to articles, dropping screenshots, and pointing to supposed whistleblowers. There's talks of a $5 million grant to George Soros' Open Society Foundation, or organization that long's been a lightning rod for controversy. And I've even reported on some of the money that George Soros been getting from our government. That's his whole scheme. He gets money from the government. People act like this, like he's actually spending his money, but he's actually getting a lot of taxpayer money for his NGOs that he creates, and he takes our money, our tax dollars, and use it against us to push things like open borders and stuff like that. Others mention an $81 million chunk funneled to something called the Tide Center, allegedly a Soros-linked nonprofit. And then there's $27 million figures tied to BLM protests that keeps popping up. These numbers are flying around, but here's the catch. A lot of it is anecdotal right now. You've got... so you got to be careful when we read through all this, because we know they're going to use some of this stuff and throw in some false information and stuff like that too. So you got to kind of go through this stuff carefully. But let's think back. Let's step back for a second. Think critically. On one hand, the idea that a government agency could be weaponized, excuse me, isn't crazy. History is full of examples: CIA coups, Cold War propaganda, you name it. USAID's been accused before of being a front for U.S. interests, so the framework's there. And the Cayman Islands bit, that's the red flag right there. Anytime if you going offshore to Cayman Islands, you doing some type of dirt. No, I mean, I don't know any legitimate company that uses the Cayman Islands. So offshore accounts scream shady right off the bat. But here's the flip side. These claims are coming fast again, so you want to be careful when you go through some of this stuff. Some of the names attached, you got Obama, Soros, Biden, the usual suspects. So why should we care? Because if this is true, which I 1000% believe it is, it's your money being spent. We're talking billions of taxpayers potentially funding chaos instead of charity. That's not just a policy oops, that's a betrayal of trust. And if it's happening abroad, what's stopping it from happening here? I think it is happening here. I think a lot of these Tesla terrorist attacks and things like that that's going on, some of these so-called this grassroots movement they're trying to pretend with these town halls and stuff and having people shout out and yell at our Congress people. I think these are paid agitators. This is not the first time something like this happened. So whether you buy it or not, it's a wake-up call to question the narrative we're being fed. So again, the USAID Rent-a-Riots, it's explosive. Get this information out there. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this crazy stuff. Do you think our government is actually funding these Rent-a-Riots like I do? If you don't, let me know. It's okay to have different opinions. Oh, before I let y'all go, I've been getting some messages saying that people comments are getting deleted and stuff like that. If your comment is getting deleted, it's not from me. Even if you disagree with me, I leave those comments up because it's okay to have different points of views. I have no problem with that. So if it's being deleted, it's on YouTube. I got nothing to do with that. So please leave y'all comments down below. Let me know what y'all think. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.